Hi, I'm Bob Hill, President of the Church of Scientology, Mission of Riverdale at 308 Broadview Avenue in Toronto. This is Sunday service number 24 during the coronavirus. Can you imagine? We've been doing this for 6 months now. Pretty good. The topic of today's sermon is how to help children. Scientology is a practical religion. It teaches a person how to know. That's what the word means, knowing how to know. As the children of the world head back to school during the pandemic, there is a lot of attention on their well-being. Today, we will look at tools you can use to help children, and many of these tools also apply to adults. Okay? Good stuff. Today's sermon is based on the information from The Way to Happiness, Chapter 4, Love and Help Children, and the Scientology Handbook, Chapter 14, Children, by L. Ron Hubbard, who explains, today's children will become tomorrow's civilization. Bringing a child into the world today is a little bit like dropping one into a tiger's cage. It is a delicate problem to discuss. There are almost as many theories on how to raise a child or not raise him as there are parents. Yet, if one does it wrong, much grief can result, and one may even complicate his own later life. Let's face it, yesterday's children are taking care of the elderly today. Have you observed handlings of children around you? Were the results good or bad? Some tools you can use with children are listening, observing, and allowing children to help. Try to find out what a child's problem really is, and without crushing their own solutions, try to help solve them. Observe them. And this applies even to babies. Listen to what children tell you about their lives. You'll be surprised. Let them help. If you don't, they become overwhelmed with the sense of obligation. Obligation means the condition or fact of owing another something in return for favors or services received. Have you ever felt like you owed someone something and they just wouldn't let you give anything back? It is not a good feeling, and it stays with you. Have you ever been in an event where you and others wanted to contribute, but the organizer was too busy doing everything himself to give you anything to do? Sometimes people can get so busy they want to save time by not allowing others, especially children and teenagers, to help, but this may not be wise. L. Ron Hubbard in the Scientology Handbook also states, children are not dogs. They can't be trained like dogs are trained. They are not controllable items. They are, and let's not overlook the point, men and women. A child is not a special species of animal distinct from man. A child is a man or a woman who has not attained full growth. Any law which applies to the behavior of men and women applies to children. So children have rights that should be protected. At this time, our inalienable rights, those things we can do and have that cannot be taken away from us, are very important, and they're contained in the creed of the Church of Scientology, which I will now read to you. We of the Church believe that all men of whatever race, color, or creed were created with equal rights, that all men have inalienable rights to their own religious practices and their performance, that all men have inalienable rights to their own lives, that all men have inalienable rights to their sanity, that all men have inalienable rights to their own defense, that all men have inalienable rights to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments. That all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others. That all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind. That the souls of men have the rights of men. That the study of the mind and the healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields, and that no agency less than God has the power to suspend or set aside these rights overtly or covertly. And we of the church believe that man is basically good, that he is seeking to survive, that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the church believe that the laws of God forbid man to destroy his own kind, to destroy the sanity of another, to destroy or enslave another's soul, to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group. And we of the church believe that the spirit can be saved, and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body. Okay? Great. Now, L. Ron Hubbard in the Scientology handbook also states, as I mentioned earlier, that children are not dogs. Now, another point in handling them, based on that, is to allow them to be self-determined. You got it? Now, self-determinism is the state of being wherein the individual can or cannot be controlled by his environment according to his own choice. In that state, the individual has self-confidence in his control of the material universe and other people. So if you tried to train him like a dog, he wouldn't have that self-determinism. Does that make sense to you? I'm sure it does. Examples of self-determinism are being allowed to pick up what you wear and what you eat, being allowed to speak or not speak. You should encourage self-determinism, not squash it or try and train it out of them. A child has a right to his self-determinism. You say that if he is not restrained from pulling things down on himself, running into the road, etc., he'll be hurt. What are you as an adult doing to make that child live in rooms or an environment where he can be hurt? The fault is yours, not his, if he breaks things. Keeping environments clean, germ and virus free and safe would then be the responsibility of the adults. The sweetness and love of a child can be preserved only so long as he can exert his own self-determinism. You can compare the freedom of a safe environment where one can play and safely to the restrictions and problems. They won't get glass in their foot. I'll give that to you again, okay? You can compare the freedom of a safe environment where one can run and play safely to the restrictions and problems of a glass and sharp object-filled small room. What do you think would be better? Sometimes seeing the world from the child's viewpoint helps. Should try it. I have 2 grandchildren, and I've always operated off the principle that they should be self-determined. So I'll often ask them, are you willing to say hello to me today? Because they're people. Maybe they had a rough night, maybe they didn't sleep much, I don't know. But at least I say, so you want to say hi? And they'll say, hi, Papa, or they'll say, no. And I'll say, okay, I'll come back and see you later. And I come back and see them later, and then they'll say, hi, Papa. They'll say hi on their own determinism. Another tool to help children is to let them know what is happening and why. Something else enters in here, and that is data. How can a child possibly know what to contribute to, or his family, or his home, if he hasn't any idea on the working principle in which it runs? A family is a group with a common goal of group survival and advancement. The child, not allowed to contribute or failing to understand the goals and working principles of family life, is cast adrift from the family. Give him the whole picture. If he's been revolting, he may keep right on revolting, but eventually he'll come around. Make sense? Good. First of all, a child needs security. Security is being free of confusion and uncertainty. Part of that security is a code of conduct, which is invariable. What is against the law today can't be ignored tomorrow. If you can communicate with children about the pandemic in a way that they can understand and answer their questions, you ask them, this is why you need to wear a mask. Do you understand it? And why are their desks 6 feet apart? Why do they need to wash hands more often? Why is this important for their family and their community? So you explain it to them. Then you set rules and you stick to them. You'll be surprised how fast kids will respond and help when they really understand. You'll be amazed. My wife told me an example of my granddaughter. My wife, talked to my granddaughter about wearing masks. She's 5 years old. And when you go into stores, you got to wear masks. And my granddaughter started wearing her mask because she understood why. And she started noticing people in the store who weren't wearing masks and saying, look, that guy's not wearing his mask. And she wanted to make sure that other people were also doing that to prevent any spread of illness, which I find kind of interesting from a 5-year-old, that they were now willing to monitor it with others. So that's an example, which I'm sure you can think of others. I'll now read for you the prayer for total freedom. May the author of the universe enable all men to reach an understanding of their spiritual nature. May awareness and understanding of life expand so that all may come to know the author of the universe, and may others also reach this understanding, which brings total freedom. At this time, we think of those whose liberty is threatened, of those who have suffered imprisonment for their beliefs, of those who are enslaved or martyred, and for all those who are brutalized, trapped, or attacked. We pray that human rights will be preserved, so that all people may believe and worship freely, so that freedom will once again be seen in our land. Freedom from war and poverty in one, freedom to be, freedom to do, and freedom to have. Freedom to use and understand man's potential, a potential that is God-given and God-like. And freedom to achieve that understanding and awareness that is total freedom. May God let it be so. So that's today's sermon. I hope you enjoyed it. If you can take that back, if you have kids, and use it, or even use those datums on your friends or even adults' friends, it'll work. You can help children and adults by using communication, observation, and allowing others to help. You can create a safe world with explained and set rules, and allow and encourage each other to be self-determined. Try using these tools to improve your life. The Way to Happiness, Scientology Handbook, and booklets and videos with details on how to stay well are also available online. Join us next Sunday for more ways to improve life. Thank you.